when we go through 1.5, that is organizational psychology and organizational behavior. So this is a related subfield of the organization and the industrial psychology is organizational behavior. So there are obvious similarities and not so obvious differences between them. So Moorhead and Griffin in 1995 defined organizational behavior as a study of human behavior in the organization setting and the interface between human behavior and organization and the organization itself. So if we have seen in the last part of the definition where it says organization itself, that means it sees the difference between the two fields. So organizational behavior is concerned not only with the individual level behavior within the organization but also with the macro level processes such as organization strategy, structure and change. Now as we move further, we will see that organizational psychology is interested in macro level processes but also to the extent that it impacts individual behavior. So the key difference between organizational behavior and the more eclectic in its approach, the drawing heavily from the variety of disciplines like management, sociology, economics. That means all the disciplines are included in this particular topic, which is the organizational behavior. So then what happened was that Jacks in 2002, who draws mainly from the subfield within psychology, those who specialize in organizational behavior tend to de-emphasize the individual approach and focus more on studying the system in which individual behavior occurs. So according to Smithers in 1968, where the industrial and organizational psychology tends to move from study of the individual to the organization. Organizational behavior moves from the organization to the study of the individual. So basically it is the people who are working in the organization, they form the organization and their behavior matters the most in showing this particular. So this is the organizational behavior. So the industries or the organization show this. Then what is the scope of organizational psychology? So the organizational psychology is, if you go only by this, which shows that industrial organizational psychology can be taken on two sides, the industrial side and the organizational side. So the organizational side covers the group and the intergroup. So that is provides comparison the list of topics. So the topic listed on the industrial side are by and large associated with the management of human resources. Industrial is by the management side, organization is through the group and the intra-group, right? So industrial side you have job analysis, recruitment, selection, compensation, performance appraisal. So these are all management processes. Then organizational side is socialization, motivation, work stress, leadership and group performance, organizational development. It is all related to the human aspect. Now while industrial psychology is concerned with the use of psychological measurements and in the help of organization makes the best use of their people, organizational psychology uses psychological theories to diagnose and correct organizational problems. So it uses scientifically based principles and research methods to a variety of topics. So the recent books on industrial organizational psychology, for instance Cooper and Locke, have covered topics such as leadership training and development, effectiveness, job satisfaction, employee interview, performance appraisal, intelligence, motivation, job performance, recruitment, goal setting, organization practice and organizational stress. So now let us look on the topics which are covered in the organizational psychology more closely. So one is work motivation, job satisfaction, organizational commitment, organizational justice, leadership. So let's start with work motivation. So what is motivation? Motivation is the force that energizes an individual to reach a goal. And Taylor's introduction of the piece rate and bank wiring room study at Hawthorne are two examples of how complex worker motivation is, and at the workplace it is important for a manager to understand the needs and drives the subordinates. Then you come to job satisfaction, organizational commitment and organizational justice. So what is job satisfaction? This is one of the most important topics and the research topics in organizational psychology, and employees overall assessment of his or her job. And job satisfaction has theoretical practical utility and has been linked to important job outcomes including absenteeism, employee turnover, health, organizational effective, and attitudinal variables such as job involvement and organizational commitment. So commitment refers to what? Commitment refers to acceptance of the goals and values, willingness to learn, exert considerable effort, and a strong desire to remain a member of the organization. Then you come to organizational justice, with people's perception of fairness in the organization, both procedural and relational. So, the research shows that the perceived justice is associated with people's feeling and reaction of the organization. Then you come to leadership. What is leadership? Influencing is the process of influencing, supporting, and motivating others to work effectively towards achieving the organization's objectives and goals. And psychologists say they are partially interested in leadership as it affects the job performance and the subordinates. So when we talk about the difference between the managers and the leaders, so managers, they process administrative tasks that organize work environment, and leaders conduct those same tasks with the inspiring and motivating of the workforce. And managers cope with the complexity, leaders cope with the change. So this is the major difference. Then you come to group behavior. What is a group behavior? Group, number of people together forms a group, and it is an interaction between individuals of a collective such as organizations, right? So this interaction serves to fulfill some need satisfaction an individual who is a part of the collection, and helps to provide a basis for his interaction in the specific number of the group. So it is increasingly being recognized that a group of people working together can achieve much more than individuals. So what is work stress? This is one thing which everybody is talking about these days. So it is interaction between people and the jobs, and is focused on the environmental, organizational, social, and individual stresses and the outcome. So the degree of stress experienced in the ways which a person reacts to is influenced by the number of factors that are studied as moderator variables. So what is organizational culture and development? We keep on hearing all this, organizational culture and development. So organizational culture as a construct is a relatively recent addition to the contemporary organizational psychology literature. So culture, what is culture? Refers to commonly held and relatively stable beliefs, attitudes, and values that exist within the organization, and it was given by Williams. So these include rituals, ceremonies, language, jargons. So organization depends on development is an ongoing systematic process to implement effective change in the organization. Psychologists in this area are focused to understand on managing organizational change and increase organizational effectiveness. The change may involve people, workers, process, and technology. Then you have the productive and counterproductive behavior. Now what is productive and what is counterproductive? Productive is something which is positive, counter is negative. So productive is defined as employee behavior that contributes positively to the goals and objectives of the organization, and these three common forms are productive behavior in the organization: job performance, organizational citizenship behavior. These are all productive behavior. Then you come to counterproductive, employee behavior that goes against the organization. So these are two basic differences, the productive and the counterproductive. So when you talk about the counterproductive behavior is absenteeism, job turnover, job performance, substance abuse, sexual harassment. Then you come to work-life balance. So what is work-life balance? Stress balance between work and all the other roles. And when you're at home, you have to manage it. So it is exercised by the person referred to as work balance, leisure, community, religion. So an adequate work-family balance would lead to a facilitation of positive experiences in both domains, and conversely, an imbalance continued lead to family conflict. That such is a bidirectional, that is spillover may occur from work to family and family to work, right? So the consequence of work family conflict may such as absenteeism, turnover, intentions, then career. So friends, these are certain things that we complete with block 1 of the unit 1. So to next time we are going to start with the unit 2. Bye bye, take care.